Welcome to our first episode of Ask Anelia. I'm your host, Helane Lipson. For those of you not familiar with Anelia Benz, she's a teacher, a spiritual catalyst, and her mission is to raise the vibration of the planet. For over a month now, people have been writing in with all kinds of questions for Anelia Benz on a whole wide range of topics, from ascension to gun control to ETs and UFOs to meditation practices. If you're interested in asking Anelia a question that would be answered on our program, you can go to Anelia's website, www.ascension101.com. And now, here to unravel some of the mysteries of our existence, let's bring on Anelia Benz. You know, Anelia, not so long ago, December 21st, 2012 came rolling around, and so many people sent in questions about this shift in consciousness and ascension. And now, December 21st, 2012 came and went, and nothing of matter seemed to happen. So we have quite a few questions about our shift from 3D to 5D. And I'd like to focus this segment on the energies we're experiencing at this time. So are you ready for our first question?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. This is coming from Ula. And she just asks, she's straight to the point, what kind of changes can be expected after 12/21/2012? And she says, thank you, Anelia.
Okay. Basically, what we have to look at here is what changes are happening inside of you. This whole media-driven shift of the ages was a very externalized type thing. And we could have created it as a collective because we create our own reality. We could have created something drastic or something really dramatic or something very from one day to the next type thing. But we didn't. The collective and Gaia really want a very gradual, slow change that will take about 2.5 generations to really, really come across. But it's only up to 2017 that we really need to work really, really hard to raise our vibration and let people know that the new paradigm is really our own creation by raising our vibration, expanding on our awareness, because after that we'll reach critical mass or the 100th monkey effect, and then we won't need to do this anymore. Everybody will just have it, you know. It'll be something like breathing. It'll be normal. However, the changes that you can expect to happen really need to begin or happen or be decided by you, and it's an internal process. So you change your own reality. You make the changes in your own life. You are the one that releases your dark side. And then that is reflected on the planet, on a planetary level. So we release it at a planetary level.
So it's very interesting that you explain this way. You know, our next question was from somebody named Lori Martin. And she asked this question, why is your work done in 2017? And so the reason is, again, that is when this information, about ascension would have reached critical mass in 2017.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be basically out of a job. My being a spokesperson for this message will no longer be necessary, so I can go and do some other things. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, Lori Martin also asked another question, and so because that just matched up, here's Lori Martin's question. She says, I have another question for Anelia. It is in regards to our physical body as we continue evolving in the new paradigm. Will our physical bodies begin to age differently? For example, as we evolve into healthier eating habits, healthier ways of managing stress, living in more harmony and light, and many more tools for managing our emotions, I would imagine our physical body will age stronger and maintain vibrance longer. Is this true? And in the future, will the human body not age that much? Just wishful thinking. She writes, right now, many raw vegans look so much younger, healthier, and more spry than others their same age. And is that just based on diet and exercise?
Yeah, it's actually not so much diet, but toxins. People who go raw vegan really are eliminating a lot of toxins out of their diets. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only way to go. You can be a meat eater, but depending on the meat that you eat and it's not full of toxins, and also a meat that has been really happy while alive, you can still achieve a less toxic input of food and drink in your body. And yeah, it's like rest, hydrate with I use distilled water, and lower all of your toxins out of your diet. That will have a tremendous effect in your own appearance and the way in which your body reacts to the linear time. As we move out of linear time, of course, our appearance will change and we won't age as much. I'm coming up to 47 years old, but when people look at me in real life, they think I'm a lot younger.
Yeah.
And, I have, all of my life, I have gone into meditative states, so meditation is very important. I also identified a program that ages us. And funnily enough, because about 6 years ago, I looked like I was, still in my 18 years old. And it was very embarrassing when I was walking around, with my husband, and they would say, does your dad want blah, blah, and he's like 3 or 4 years, I can't remember, but he's my age, and it's like, oh my goodness. So I thought of identify the gene or the program. It's a program that we have in our field that was injected in there. Our lifespan naturally should be a lot longer. And I activated it. So I got a few gray hairs and wrinkles, and I changed my mind. I've been, I don't know, probably vanity or something, I don't know. But I changed my mind. And also like the feeling of not being as energetic. I think that's what really did it. And then when I went back to reverse it, it was really, really hard. So I totally understand. Once that program takes hold, it's really hard to reverse it and to go back and reverse the age process. But it is possible. I have seen it. And not only that, but and not just with age, but your physical body can also change appearance and shape with regards to your expansion of awareness and you raising your vibration, because once you raise your vibration, you become less solid and your environment becomes less solid also.
Wow. How do we activate this program? I want to do this.
Well, yeah. Deactivate the aging program, right? Deactivate that one. So you scan your body and see, where is it? Where is this program? It's a very deep genetic level. And you look for it and say, okay, you're no longer useful. So thank you for your service and bye-bye.
Wow. That was interesting. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to the next question. And again, thank you, Lori Martin, for your question. Our next question is from Andrea. And this is a little switching gears, but still talking about shift in consciousness. It says, hi, dear Anelia. How do you see the role of Africa in the upcoming shift of consciousness?
I know it's important, and I have friends who are deeply involved in energy work in Africa. I know that the pyramids have a lot of a very important role in South Africa and many areas of Africa too. There's a lot of wisdom and knowing there that has been suppressed terribly by our shadow self through war and elimination of peoples. But me personally, I don't actually work My work is not aimed or concentrated in Africa, so I don't have a lot of information and I don't really know how it's going to evolve. My focus has been very aimed at Europe and the Americas, all of the Americas, North, Central and South America. So I really don't have much of a focus there, or Eastern Europe, or the Middle East or Africa. So yeah, I couldn't really answer that fully for you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, this is coming from Larry, and he asks, will there be a physical shift of the Earth from 3D to 4D, or will it merely be a shift in consciousness? Will anyone notice that it has happened, or will it simply be done with hardly anyone noticing a change?
That is a really deep question. Well, you see, the physical reality is our creation. So for us to move into a more subtle dimension of physicality, it really has to come from inside outward. Many individuals have already achieved this. They already live in a very pliable, less dense, light-filled reality right here with us. And it's up to us to catch up on that. Gaia has already moved dimensions. She's already in what we might call the fifth dimension or heaven or the new paradigm or whatever it is that we want to call it, the fourth dimension or whatever. And she's just there in that reality construct, and she's saying, come on, become aware of me here and come and join me. The hardest part for us to shift is our physical bodies. Our physical bodies are elementals. They're not us, but we have created them, and they are part of us. So it's like a very interesting relationship. We cannot exist on the physical reality without our physical body, or a physical body, and they cannot exist here either without our energy infusing them with animation and subtlety, right? So basically, it is our physical bodies which are made of what we might call 3D matter. And Gaia's babies are our physical bodies. So our physical bodies, because they're elementals, they're more like cats and dogs, like more basic, very pure. And they need baby steps. So the person's soul, or what might we consider the spirit, even if that person has made the shift, it doesn't necessarily mean their physical body has made the shift. But we have heard many times in history and we still hear about this, and it's something one of my pet projects, teleportation, for example, is a pulling away from the illusion that the physical world is solid and we are stuck in a location in time-space with our physical body, and shifting into a reality where we know that it's pliable and it's all there at the same time, so we can move like reality or the physicality from one viewpoint to another, bringing with us, or at a physical level. So our physical body appears to be in another location, right? So yeah, it's very much to do with an expansion of awareness, raising our own vibration, making the physical body more subtle and less solid.
Wow, that's intense. Very. So now I have another question along those lines. This is from Patricia. I feel I have chosen the new paradigm of light and love. But it is occasionally, in the same scenarios, challenged again and again by the dark side. Does it mean we cannot choose the new paradigm permanently, and we have to stay alert to all those triggers which pull us back into the old paradigm? Or is the choice for the new paradigm permanent, in which case it's just me not applying all the exercises properly? And of course, she says, many thanks for answering my questions. You're doing a fantastic job for humankind, Anelia. Just wanted to throw that in.
Oh, thank you. Well, basically, it is your choice, moment to moment, what paradigm you're going to be existing in. So if you get triggered, it means there's stuff there that you haven't quite dealt with yet. Always look at it not as something external, but something that is in your own field. So if somebody, for example, becomes very aggressive and attacks you in the street, obviously you have to make sure your body stays safe. So you defend yourself or you run away, whatever it is to make your physical body stay safe is part of physical survival, and it doesn't get damaged. So you protect your body so it doesn't get damaged. Now, what does that trigger inside of you? Did it trigger anger? Did it trigger fear? Did it trigger disappointment? Did it trigger a victim-aggressor cycle? Now have a look and see, scan yourself, scan your body, and see what did it trigger. And that's the energy that you have to address because it hasn't been processed all the way. So you process it. And I have to tell you, we have so many programs, and sometimes we get washed over by the collective's programs as well that are being generated by everybody else. And we really have to go in there without judgment and see it as energy and really process it from an energetic point of view. There's like a belief still in the planet that says darkness is useful, right? And that is not true. It's a con. Darkness will always tell you it's useful, and that's a way for it to grab hold of your own field and stay there. Mm-hmm. So this terrible thing happened because I needed to learn blah blah, or this teaches me that blah, or it's really useful because now I can see the opposite. Not true.
Yeah.
It's actually, that's a program that's been told us so many times for such a long time in so many ways that we have internalized it, and it's not real. We no longer need darkness. It was a useful creation, and now it's time to release it. It's time for it to let it go.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, it is a program, and we have been told that it was useful for us, and it isn't.
No.
So, okay, I want to go on to our next question. And again, along the lines of ascension, just switching gears a bit. This is from Laura. And she says, my question is about ascension and Christianity. How does Jesus fit in? And how do you discern the good guys from the bad guys, so to speak?
Okay. So there's two questions there. The first one, where does Jesus fit in? Jesus was a historical figure that existed or lived a couple of thousand years ago. Probably. I'm not really sure when. Mm-hmm. And he brought forth himself, and others brought forth what could basically be called the Christ consciousness. Very advanced teachings for that age. Those were then grabbed by different people and twisted and used even against him. He was killed, right? And all sorts of legends and things put around it. And but basically, he has as much power as anybody else that lives on the planet, which is infinite. So have a look at yourself, because you are that being too. Right? You are Jesus Christ. You are everybody who's alive on the planet today, and everybody who's ever lived on this planet, ever, and in every other planet. So if you look at it from that perspective, we have to think of, well, how are we using the name of Jesus or the entity that was Jesus ourselves? Are we using this energy and entity to be in a savior, victim, martyr, aggressor paradigm? Are we expected for this being to come in and do everything for us, to save us, as it were? Or are we willing to see the being as a guide and perhaps learn from what he went through and what he has to say with regards to shifting our own negativity and moving into that divine space of being source on earth. Now, what was the second part of the question? I can't
The
recall.
second part of the question was, how do you discern the good guys from the bad guys, so to speak?
Okay, so really there aren't any good or bad guys. There's just different experiences, right? But I understand what you mean, like the shadow, the light, the good, the bad, the cabal, the light workers, this type of duality of light dark. How do you discern them from each other? Well, one of them is based on fear. So they will promote fear and they will teach fear and they will generate fear inside people. And the other is core essence, that's light love, basically. There's no fear there. So that's how I would discern which camp, as it were, each person or each side of us, even ourselves inside of us, which side we have, or on the planet, which people have which.
Based on how different people make you feel.
What they're projecting. Because even if somebody's projecting fear, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you feel. Right? So that's not they're not making you feel anything. They're just projecting something. And it's up to you to decide then how you're going to react to that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, along those lines then, we have a question from someone named Joa. And they say, once on the Avalon forum, you mentioned that Lucifer has left the building. He did not like the higher frequencies of the New Age. How are the other angels doing, like Aramen? Did the chaos left by Lucifer regain its new order?
Okay, the saying that I said, basically, yeah, the main boss, as it were, of our shadow self, the one that we invited him to have a light dark experience, left the planet because it was extremely uncomfortable for him to exist here now, as we raised the planetary vibration and the collective vibration, something that's happening every day. And the same thing's happening with any other being of darkness. But they are fighting really hard because it's survival. It's really about survival for them. And the only way they can have a grasp on us as individuals and as a collective is to continue having that belief that they're useful, or that they serve, or that they provide, some sort of experience or teaching. Now they don't. They just provide density and darkness and fear. That's all they provide. So I'm not really sure how the other angels are doing because I don't have any contact with them. So basically, I suppose you could ask them yourself, how are you doing? And see what response comes through.
Interesting. And again, the questions are just flowing because the next question is about finding your spiritual masters and talking to your spirit guides. So let me read this question from Jennifer. Jennifer says, I heard some people say they received messages and are guided by spiritual masters or light beings. How do I know who my spiritual master is, and how can I find them?
Okay. Basically, we are all expressions of one being. Okay, we are all one. So those spiritual masters, guides, angels, and entourage, they're all us. We're higher selves, different vibrations or different tints of color of ourselves. Just like in humanity, we're all us. But just like we exist in an illusion of separation where we are different people, these beings are also different or can be perceived as different entities. Now, when you decide whom should be your master, you're already moving on giving away your power. Because you're saying, I want to be guided and told what to do by a higher vibrational being. And you open yourself up to a lot of possible manipulation and all sorts of other things. So I would say for you to be open to the possibility that you are your own master. And then any information you receive, whether it's from spiritual beings, whom you might consider as high vibrational, or other type of beings, or other human beings, really discern that for yourself. Scan it and see, does this resonate to me as true and useful or not? Right? And then you have to be really pure and impeccable in that, because sometimes, again, the other bit can come in saying, well, it is useful if you break your leg, because then you can take time off work, and that's what you really need. You need to rest, right? So, but what's it doing? It's giving you pain, it's lowering your vibration, it's making you not able to do, which is not useful in any way or form. So really be discernful of what's happening, what information you're receiving. Become your own sovereign. And sometimes you can pull in information from people that you feel know more than you. Look, for example, I was making Christmas dinner a few years ago. I'd never done it before. I didn't know, I'd never cooked a turkey before, never done steamed vegetables or anything. So I pulled in guides and angels who were expert cooks. And I can tell they told me what to do moment by moment. From 10 o'clock in the morning, now you have to do this, and then you have to do that, and I'll put this here, add a bit of that there, add this spice here. And we had the most wonderful Christmas dinner ever. You'd think I was an expert chef, which I'm not. So, yeah, we can pull that in, but then we dismiss them, right? We say, okay, thank you very much, that was very useful, bye. Mm-hmm. So, if you need help with your career, if you need help on your certain for example, you're a lawyer, and or you want to become a lawyer, then pull forth a light being that was or is a lawyer in his or her essence to guide you. And once you're done with that, say thank you and dismiss them.
So, Anelia, is the process just as simple as that? As simple as asking?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
For anyone?
Anyone. And then the discernment comes in. Right? You have to really discern yourself.
Interesting. Anelia, we're running out of time, so I wanted to ask you if there's any last-minute message you have for our listeners about this shift in consciousness and ascension.
Yeah. Basically, it's the same one that I've been talking about. And it's that the fifth dimension, the new paradigm, the fourth dimension, heaven on earth, or whatever it is that you want to call it, this shift that we're all experiencing, that we all have that knowing of, it's something that we create. It comes from the inside out. It's not something that's outside. It's not a place. It's not a location. It's our creation. And we start today. We start right away with our becoming very aware of our intention behind words, actions, and our life, and how we express ourselves in every level. So that would be it, I think.
Well, thank you. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to Ask Anelia. We'll see you soon. Have a beautiful day.